Amr Moussa, former foreign minister of Egypt and the former head of the Arab League. Minister Moussa, is democracy in crisis around the world?
Yes, everything is in question. Everything is in crisis at this stage.
Can you date this crisis, Mr. Moussa? Did it begin in 1989, perhaps?
Started with searching an enemy, for an enemy, in order to concentrate all your shootings, all your decisions, policies at this enemy. And the major mistake, historical mistake, is that it seems that many advisors, writers, think tanks focused on Islam. And that played in the hands of so many of those who didn't want peace to prevail.
But how's that connected with the crisis of democracy?
Well, everything is connected with everything else. You cannot just take democracy as a separate issue with a separate development in its life. You cannot talk about democracy only. You have to talk about development, about basic rights of people, about human rights, about the international relationship, about the system, the multilateral system. You know, there's a lot of things that you have to consider together. This is the world. The challenges of today go beyond that. It is good. Nobody should, I do not criticize democracy, definitely. But at the same time, I'm so preoccupied with other major challenges. So we should not stop at this station and not to look around. What is going on? What is in the minds of the people of the Middle East?
What other issues, though, are more important than democracy, or even equally important?
Survival.
Survival?
Security.
They're as important as democracy?
Future of the population. How to feed them. It is the question.
But democracy isn't incompatible with that, is it? And some people would argue that these problems can only be solved with democracy.
Look, the success of China, for example, it was done without the system of democracy as the West knows it. It's a huge success. Other countries are really on the road to richness and stability and being a powers to reckon with. Let us agree together that this issue has so many components, including democracy. But you don't say democracy and then the rest is of second degree of importance. No, survival is of countries. You see, countries now are being divided. Countries do disappear from the map of the world. And so, yes, I don't want to say forget about democracy, but I'm just saying that let us put things in the right perspective.
Give me your reading of the Arab Spring.
There was a theory talked about emanating from the Western cultures.
From the Western what?
Or culture, or cultures.
You mean from Western media? Or?
Western media, Western universities, Western churches, etc.
Yes.
They're talking about creative anarchy. That there will be chaos, and the chaos will lead to change, and the change will bring democracy. That is one theory, coming from certain corners in the West. The second element was the failure of so many Arab governments to deliver what the people want, to address the real problems of the population that led to anger, led to frustration, and led to some people to go to the street, and then so many for different reasons and motivations came to join this. But my point is, had there been good governance, there would have been no such negative reaction, and this theory or this concept called creative anarchy wouldn't have succeeded.
Isn't it fair to say, though, that one of the reasons why there wasn't good government was because these governments weren't accountable, they weren't elected?
Yeah, you can say that, but you can say also that they are responsible people. You can find responsible people once they reach this pinnacle of power. They act with responsibility to develop their own society and not to succumb to this negative desire of cult of personality. There are people, leaders, who really succeeded, who really pushed their society in the right direction. The success of Malaysia, for example, success of Singapore, success of Turkey before the chaos we see today. There are many success of Indonesia after also a certain debacle. There are stories of success. And myself as Egyptian, I believe that Egypt should have been number one on that list.
And are you comfortable with this term, Arab Spring, by the way?
No. It's not Arab Spring with the meaning, the first reaction of such terminology. No, it was a real drive for change. I believe it is early
Too early
to decide that it has failed, because the point is that change.
You sound very hopeful about how they'll change the world.
I believe in the spirit, the new spirit of the 21st century, the opportunities it offers. This is a different world, and that's forming the new personality of the coming generation. So it has to be different. Of course it has to be different.
So you are essentially a great supporter of globalization. You don't really see a downside. You think...
No. I see, of course we see the downside. But it has become a fact of life.
Unavoidable. Inevitable.
Unavoidable. This is the 21st century. That's it.
So you are overall very optimistic about...
Not very.
Somewhat.
Not somewhat.
Optimistic.
Just optimistic.
Just optimistic.
Just optimistic. So many things could go wrong. One, the conflict or the competition, rivalry between big powers on the Middle East. Also, the emerging regional powers that also vie for influence.
What, Iran and Israel in particular?
And Turkey. So I think that the people in the Middle East, the people in the Arab world, the people in Egypt, exactly, now they know that a better life is one of the goals. Number two, that's not a question of cult of personality. It's a question of love of your country. And love of your country is not just love as we talk about in abstract, but about working to the benefit of your country. Change the system of education. And by the way, we in Egypt started to reconsider our old system of education. Things of that kind. We have to move, in particular, dealing with the major issues that have to do with the life of our population and how to ensure a better life for them.